Guys, I am live again. There was technical hiccups. Please join this session. Yeah, guys, thanks group for others to join this particular live session. These things happen, don't worry. The technology, we need to handle the technology. Technology doesn't drive us, we drive the technology. So, if our intention is there to go on, so we'll move for sure. How is the audio? Thanks for joining back. It's a Facebook interruption. Network is pretty good here. Uh, how is the reception right now? Guys, how is the reception at your end? Right now? Vikrant, Sri, Tulika? Yeah, Tathapi also has joined. Right now my reception is pretty good. So this is the reception I'm listening to. So okay, okay, good, good. So let's wait for a couple of minutes because we need to facilitate others also to join so that they don't miss it. Yeah, Pooja has joined. Welcome back, Pooja. Don't worry about these technical difficulties. We'll overcome these. This has happened earlier. Is it okay now, guys? So that I can start? Or otherwise it will be recorded and you can watch it later on also, just so you know. So I'll start it now. So I was talking about the suppression. At that point I ended the previous session. The suppression and how the suppression lead us to chronification of disease, that we need to understand now. Right. Now, guys, you can just carry on confirming me through the chat that everything is working fine. Otherwise also I am proceeding. Right. So the disease stages, I was talking about the disease stages. Now we understood the innervation, we understood the toxemia, and toxemia, how it leads to healing crisis, that also we understood. Now post healing crisis, we understood a term called suppression. That means we are suppressing the symptom, the initiative of the body to throw out the toxin. When that happens, then the toxin gets retained in our body. When the toxin retainment happens within the body, we suffer a state which is called chronic disease. So the acute disease is nothing but the healing crisis where the body tries to throw out the toxin. When that doesn't occur effectively, we suppress that initiative of the body, then the body will transfer and transform that acute disease into chronic disease. So the chronification happens. Now this chart will show you how the chronification happens, and I'll share this particular pic also separately on the group so that it will be further clear for your understanding. So I get responses, different responses, some interruption, some fine. So I'll carry on with the recordings perhaps. Okay, so now let's focus on this particular chart where you see the black letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There are 7 letters, and in this graph, X axis is disease chronification with time. Disease chronification with time. And the Y axis is the vitality spent, how much vitality is being spent. Now these blue lines with the overlapped red lines is actually vitality spent. It is showing the vitality spent, and the red lines here, these red lines, I'll use a purple color to show, these red lines are suppression. And these green ovals are the triggers of healing crisis, when the body tries to trigger the healing crisis to throw out the toxin. Now I'll just clear the photographs of the mark, and I'll again start with that. The disease stages are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Triggers of healing crisis are these ovals, and suppressions are these red lines. The X axis is disease chronification. So we'll start at this point, suppose, and the vitality spent goes up this way, and at this point we feel too much of tiredness. That is nothing but the innervation. And when we feel innervation, we feel innervated, that time body will actually reduce the vitality consumption, and if we take rest, then we get rejuvenated. But if we don't take rest, and so in this first the green circle is that rest. If we don't take rest and we suppress with some sort of intervention, for example tea, coffee, the stimulants to get rid of the tiredness is suppression, and that suppression leads us to a state called toxemia. So when we don't listen to the voice of the organism, when we are tired and we don't take rest, then we land up to the second stage of disease, which is toxemia. So the first stage is innervation, the second stage is toxemia. And at the stage of toxemia also, body will try to trigger a healing crisis. Right now, can you confirm how the reception at your end right now? Because I don't see any comment if it is going on or not at your end. No, it's a at my end the reception is going good, so it will be recorded for sure for your future viewing, right? So Sri confirmed that the session is going good, right? Thanks, Tulika, thanks. So when you are toxemic, that time also body will try to trigger a healing crisis. If we suppress that also, you just see the B point triggers this particular healing crisis, then it is again suppressed to lead us to the C point, which is nothing but irritation. This is the third stage of disease. At this point, I would like to mention that don't get confused with the word cancer being used here with the medicinal understanding of cancer. So for Kajal, actually Kajal is a researcher and scientist on cancer studies. So for you, it's my request that don't get confused the word cancer used in the medical fraternity and nature cure fraternity. It's a common word, the meanings are different, so we'll understand the meaning little different way, right? So the third stage, I was at the third stage, irritation. So irritation is nothing but pain. So toxemia, suppressed healing crisis will lead us to the pain, simple plain pain. Then when that pain is also suppressed, because pain is also an initiative by the body to get rid of the problem. Pain is just restriction in the blood flow. When the blood flow is toxic, then there will be a pain to get rid of that obstruction. So when we don't honor that and we suppress that pain also. For example, if I have pain here, what does it mean? The body is telling me not to move. If I do like this, I feel pain. Then the body is telling that keep it like this, I am working here. If I take a painkiller, then the pain sensation goes away. Body's activity was going on here, but without that pain sensation, if I move my hand like this, then the activity which was being done by the body here is getting disturbed and the chronification happens. So in the irritation stage, when the suppression is again applied, then it gets inflamed. So the inflammation will happen. It will be swelling. The swelling will be there, the inflammation will be there, which will actually block your movement, which will try to block your movement and finish the problem here. Finish the work that has been started by the body. Now, if that inflammation stage is also blocked, suppressed through any kind of intervention, then the body will lead to the E point, which is nothing but, so the inflammation is over, that is the ulceration. So ulceration is a stage when with the inflammation it will tear the skin and throw the toxin. It will try to throw the toxin by tearing the skin. It could happen internally, it could happen externally on the surface also. That is called the stage of ulceration. Now ulceration is also suppose suppressed. If ulceration is also suppressed, then we go to the next stage of disease, which is hardening. So it will form hardened skin there and it will try to confine that toxin in that area. So all sorts of stones, tumors, all these are nothing but hardened stage. And we have lot of tumors inside us. Inside a healthy body, lot of tumors get developed and get dissolved by the body. Unless it is intervened, this get disappeared on its own. That's the technique of the body. Now, if we do not honor that and we try to remove or do any kind of intervention on the hardening, then the fungation occur or the cancer occur. So that the seventh stage of disease which we call cancer. Now at this point also it is very much reversible if we start conserving our vitality consistently, because it happened because of the lack of vitality. Now it will be reversed by the conserved vitality. When we have huge vitality inside, that time it will be reversed. This is as simple as that. This is simple mathematics. If we did not have something, now if we conserve that, then we will have the effective output. Yeah, so here Sahana asks that is rest recommended for toxemia? Rest is recommended in all the 7 stages. Without any lack of understanding, we need to understand that the rest is the only cure recommended, only the measure recommended in nature cure. In each and every stage, if we opt rest, what is rest? We will go deeper into that aspect, that how the rest can happen effectively, that we will understand going deeper. But the rest is recommended throughout the stages, any stage you are. So in my seminars and courses, previous batches also, many got very scared seeing kind of hardened part of the body. They say that I am in the 6th stage, so it's huge. Then just I am 1 stage away from cancer, but this cancer is not that cancer what you mean. This cancer, we have lot of cancerous stages inside our body. We never know, we don't bother. This goes up and down just with the default pattern of resting. So default pattern, when I say, we have default pattern of resting sketched in the body. Just because of our conscious intervention, that resting pattern gets deviated. For example, the resting, the tiredness. If we get tired, we should take rest. Instead of that, we try to impose some kind of tired swaying methods through stimulants or through motivation also. So which is against nature. If the body is indicating tiredness, we must take rest, because rest only helps us to get cured. Right? So yeah, Pooja, I explained the toxemia. Pooja asked what will happen in toxemia. In toxemia, actually, the body will try to trigger the first healing crisis as fever. Fever, flu, loose motion, skin rashes, acute pain. So these are the primary healing crisis that we have. And these healing crises should be dealt by resting only. By resting physically, by resting physiologically, by resting psychologically. So physical rest means going to the bed, not doing anything. Physiological rest, going for fasting. No work to be given physiologically. Whatever is happening inside, let it happen. No extra burden on the physiological task. And psychologically, stress-free, rational state of mind. So these 3 things, if we continue, and we'll go deeper on these 3 aspects, physical, physiological and psychological, these 3 aspects are tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we'll go in details. So just one thing we need to understand, at this course, we are actually here to understand resting. Because the resting is only the root of curing all the diseases, all the health problem, all the wellness problem, be it physical, be it physiological, be it psychological. Right. So Tulika asks that while reversing cancer, does the body goes through each stages backward? Absolutely. Very nice question. See, the way it gets progressed, the same way it gets reversed. So all the stages, maybe for a few minutes, all the stages will appear in the body, one after another in a reverse order. The way it has progressed, the same way it will be reversed. So if you are in cancer stage, you will experience hardening, ulceration, inflammation, irritation, toxemia, and then innervated state. So throughout the healing crisis, it will be lot of tiredness, innervated state all together. So all the stages as it progressed, it reverses that way. So we understood acute and chronic diseases. Now acute is the healing crisis where the active expulsion of toxin will be there and the body temperature will be above the normal temperature. In the acute condition, the body temperature will go above the normal temperature, which is 37.1 degree centigrade or 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Now the acute and chronic, if you have some health problem, by taking the body temperature you can identify whether it is an acute or a chronic stage. Acute will have higher temperature than the normal and chronic will have lower temperature than the normal. And the chronic stage, you should not fast. You should have intelligent eating. We'll go through those eating habits and all starting tomorrow, but you need to understand in the chronic stage, we need to be very intelligent and wise to opt fasting, because fasting is a fad these days. People opt blindly fasting. We'll have about fasting also, we'll have a session separately, but we need to understand that fasting should be indicated by the body. It should not be imposed on the body. To conserve vitality, we should improve our input. It should improve the food patterns. More raw, more fruits will conserve vitality a lot, and that will end up having a help towards conservation of vitality, not the imposed fasting as we understand, right? So the fasting will be indicated by the body through the tiredness and the healing crisis and the temperature above the normal. If the temperature above the normal, you can stop eating blindly, because that's the indication, and you will not have, in any case, if your temperature is above the normal, you will not have the taste sensation in your tongue. The body will indicate clearly that you don't need to eat, right? So no imposition of fasting. Now I'll introduce a concept called vitality ribbon to explain what the vitality quotient means and how it should be addressed, right? So see, before understanding the vitality ribbon, we need to understand little bit about the longevity, right? Today's session, it will not be ending at 9, so we'll try and finish it by 9:15, and from 9:15 we'll have our breakfast break, and after that we'll start the callings, and all of you need to start your reading of the study material, the first 7 chapters. The first 7th chapter is today, intro, right? So I was talking about longevity. Now we need to understand what is longevity. Longevity is unique achievement. Unique achievement. My longevity cannot be compared with your longevity in any way. It has to be a kind of unique achievement by each individual. So for example, few days back, one prominent actress, Sridevi, died at very early age. So despite having so-called healthy lifestyle, so on the surface you cannot claim it as healthy lifestyle, but another example of Sonali Bendre is suffering from cancer and who was a health consultant also. So a health consultant suffering cancer, and those things are very shocking, right? So the longevity is not predictable. That we need to understand, that despite so-called healthy lifestyle also you may have reduced longevity. On the other hand, we have one example of Richard Overton. You can note down and Google later on. Richard Overton, who is a living person at the age of 113 today, now, so 113-year-old living person with lot of bad habits in terms of smoking cigar, drinking alcohol regularly. He is an American soldier, ex-soldier, so still alive. So the longevity, we need to understand that longevity is a personal achievement, and the factors attributing are the genetic, environment and lifestyle. Genetic, environment and lifestyle. These are the 3 factors we need to understand which governs our vitality and the longevity both. Genetic, environment and lifestyle. Now the genetic, when you, whatever you have received, that's the final. Then you cannot change it, right? When it cannot be changed, then how does it matter? We can stop bothering about the genetic attributions of ours. What we can do is genetic attribution for the future generation we can. So the youngsters, you need to understand the vitality management in a more precise manner as far as the genetic attribution is concerned, to gift a better vitality quotient to your offspring, right? So the genetic attribution for self health is, we can't do anything. So we need to accept whatever we have received, we need to manage it for a better life. Now coming to the environment. Environment is an aspect which is a community effort. So individually we cannot do a lot of changes as far as the environment is concerned. Now the environment is a long-term change which again is not a direct control of ours individually. So what is left is the lifestyle change, and we will talk about the lifestyle change in more particular manner and detailed manner. And under lifestyle there are actually 3 P's. Okay, so here's a question: what if the temperature is lower than the normal? Yeah, Pooja, as I said that if the temperature is lower than the normal, then it is a chronic stage, and chronic stage needs serious planning for vitality conservation, serious specific planning for the vitality conservation. And if you inculcate in general vitality conservation pattern in your life, you need not to worry. It will trigger healing crisis or the acute stage, and the temperature will come up and the toxins will be thrown away. So in general, if the lower temperature is there, that means it needs a lot of conservation of vitality to raise the temperature, right? Coming back, that 3 P's of lifestyle: physical, physiological, psychological. Now physical means the conscious works that we do, conscious decided work that we do. So while doing that, we actually need to inculcate a habit that we should conserve as much vitality as possible. In the physiological aspect, these are the beyond conscious aspects of our life. For example, the digestion or the breathing, these are beyond conscious, it's happening, you cannot stop it. But yes, consciously if you inculcate few habits, then you can influence the physiological expenditure of vitality also. So in all the steps, the vitality conservation is the objective. And the last but not the least is the psychological conservation of vitality. The psychological conservation of vitality needs a lot of activities as far as the rational understanding of life is concerned, and we will go deeper into this aspect on Sunday specifically. Yes. Now the vitality is a kind of unique wallet for you, where the bad news is that you can't earn more. Whatever is cast is cast. Whatever is cast is cast. Whatever you have, no earning anymore. But the good news is you have enough. Whatever you have, it's more than enough, because we waste a lot. We just need to inculcate a habit of reducing the wastage. If we reduce the wastage, then we have enough, right? Not understood? I'll give you another example which will actually clarify this confusion of vitality quotient and the conservation and consumption, right? So consumed vitality. Just think about that you have a group of labor inside which are multitasking. They can do anything. So one labor can do multiple tasks at a given time. So one labor can breathe, another that labor only can digest also, and that labor can heal also. So each and every labor inside you are multitasker, right? Now the consumed vitality is equals to engaged multitasking labors that you have inside. So you see on the picture, the all are working, and just imagine that these people can work in each other's places also. So that kind of multitasking labors they are. Now consumed vitality is engaged. So you have suppose 100 labors, few are engaged, few are disengaged, few are engaged, few are disengaged. So this is the site of engaged labor, and this is the site of conserved vitality equals to disengaged multitasking labor force inside you. They are sitting and they are ready to work, a ready force within you. They are sitting idle, but they are ready to work. That is what is the conserved vitality. And what is the total quotient? Total quotient is the total force that you have, including the engaged and disengaged, a huge group of multitasking labor inside you. That is what is the total vitality quotient. Now with that I will introduce a bar of vitality, this bar. The green portion and red portion are total, the combination of green and red is the total vitality quotient. Now total vitality quotient is this AB. Now the C point goes up and down. So the red is vitality spent or engaged vitality, and the green area is conserved vitality or disengaged vitality, or we can call the sense of life. This is very important, the sense of life. So right now whatever the sense of energy, the feeling of energy that you are enjoying is nothing but the conserved portion of vitality, is nothing but the disengaged vitality within you, and that is called the sense of life too. So it is a sense of life that you are enjoying, right? So this is a moment. This bar depicts a moment. So here we need to understand that AC plus CB equals to AB always. So AC and CB are changing, but the total quotient AB is always fixed. That's constant, right? Now suppose two moments are joined together. That was a one moment and another moment. Now this is called vitality induction. Vitality induction, it's a negative induction. If you inculcate a bad habit which consumes, bad means which consumes more vitality. So you see the point A and point B, so the moment number 1 and moment number 2, so this was a bad habit which will actually induce the bad habit for the next moment. So this is a vitality induction. So if you focus on the bad habit, then it will have an induction effect to the next moment. And similarly, if you inculcate a good habit, then it will have a positive induction effect for the next moment, where we see the green portion is increasing, right? Now the sudden death. The sudden death occurs when that red bar actually occupies the complete quotient for a single moment. For an example, electric shock. In the electric shock, it's a continuous jerking that you get, and body tries to fight. It innervates, and a single moment, if it occupies the total quotient, then it goes away. You die. But the vitality doesn't go away from the body till the time the body is perished completely. But one moment, one single moment, you touch the total quotient, you die. That is what is the sudden death. We need to understand. Now in case of mature death, you will be able to understand, because this is a conscious life, you know. Just because of the inculcation of a bad lifestyle, a wrong lifestyle, we become unconscious about our death. If we inculcate a better vitality management in our lives, then we will be able to have a conscious death. A conscious death, when you understand, yes, next moment I am going to die happily, peacefully. You see, at the last moment, little bit of green is there. So that is what is the mature death, which these days we don't see a lot. So that's an unfortunate state of mankind, and this endeavor is to reverse that kind of pattern. And I'm very much optimistic about specifically these youngsters. I'll be repeating this thing, and I'm energized, and you should encourage this kind of understanding to your friend circle more and more, so that in future we'll see a lot of mature death. And mature death is not a rocket science and not a supernatural aspect. It is very much achievable natural aspect of life. Now suppose all the moments of life, if you join together, then it gives a look of the ribbon. It gives a look of the ribbon, and this ribbon is called vitality ribbon, where you see the green portion and the red portion. The green portion is the conserved portion of the vitality or the sense of life, and the red portion is the vitality spent. So you see up and down, right? So many a time we feel low, many a time we feel high. So that depends upon the vitality expenditure that we inculcate. A casual life with casual suppressions, this is very important aspect to understand. See, there are 8 points starting from 1 to 8. 1 is the birth, 2 is young state, 3 is chronic stage, I'll come back to explain these, and 4 is conservation of vitality step by step, and then 5 is the triggers of healing crisis, where the healing crisis get triggered, then 6 is suppression opted, and then 7 shows the progression of disease, as we have understood in a different graph also, and then the 8 is the point of death. So 1 is birth, and this is the young stage. You see lot of green, lot of vitality. So young people will have lot of sense of life. And then third is the chronic stage, where we have a low sense of life. And then conservation of vitality happens, opted or happens. It may happen automatically also. It can happen consciously also, the conscious vitality management that we are learning here. So the 4th point, you see the conservation of vitality will have a lot of vitality conserved, and the 5th point, so here is a catch, the point of healing crisis, the point of trigger of the healing crisis is the highest level of the sense of life. But the moment the healing crisis is started, you will feel low, because that's an indication of the body that let me work, you rest. So that time vitality will be engaged in clearing the toxin, but to trigger that you require a lot of vitality. So conserved vitality will trigger healing crisis to throw out the toxin in terms of healing crisis. So here, that is why it is written triggers of healing crisis, because during the healing crisis you will feel low, right? Now at that point, if you suppress, then you might feel little bit of high of the energy because of the suppression, because of that surface discomfort removal. Then but the chronification starts, and the chronification we understood just now, and we progressively reach to the death untimely most of the time. Yes, so there is a question, mature death is not related to disease, right? Yes, so mature death necessarily will not be a suffering death, and it will not have that kind of suffering as normally accidental or untimely death experiences, right? Now what is vitality intelligence? The vitality intelligence is a kind of pattern where we inculcate a consistent conservation of vitality. We inculcate consistent conservation of vitality consciously. So there is a alliteration of con here. Conscious, consistent conservation of vitality. Conscious, consistent conservation of vitality. So consistency is very much important. One day you conserve vitality, you feel that the effect will be shown and seen, it cannot be. So you need to inculcate the conscious conservation of vitality consistently. Right. So let's see a well managed vitality. You see a lot of greens here. So there are ups and downs, definitely. So if you are managing your vitality, you may have healing crisis. That doesn't make you kind of unconscious person, but it will clean up your toxin from inside. So you'll have fever, you will have flu, but you will clear your toxin more often than others. And if you don't have much of toxin, so in a normal elimination process those toxins are cleared, then you may not have the healing crisis also often. So at the start, in the transition, you will have repeated healing crisis sometime, not all the time, but after consistent conservation of vitality for a period of 2 to 3 years, for an example, I'm just telling you tentatively, 2 to 3 years of consistent conservation of vitality, a normal person will never have healing crisis, because the normal elimination will be good enough for her or him to clear the toxin inside, right? So here you see a happy death, at the last point you have little bit of vitality available to observe the death, it is coming, conscious death. So there will be ups and downs, triggers of healing crisis also will be there, but there will not be chronification of disease for sure. Now let's see a severely mismanaged vitality. Severely mismanaged vitality will look like this, lot of red, and unmindful conservation of vitality may happen like this, but that again will be suppressed, and again the chronification will happen and untimely death will happen. You see the untimely death. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points are quite similar as we have explained. The point 1 is the birth, and this is a lifeline actually, right? So that actually ends the conception of vitality ribbon, and we are bang on the time. It's 9:14, 30 seconds. So we end this first intro session of the course. There were technical hiccups, but we could overcome that, and all the sessions are recorded for your reviewing also. Whatever the obstruction interruptions were there, you can just review those portions quickly and be on time. We'll have 7 p.m. live session once again, and till that time we'll be having one-to-one calls, and the calls we can just check what is the schedule of the call quickly. Yeah, so this is the call. So one-to-one session, I'm not sure if Asha has joined. Asha, are you there in the group? Anyway, we'll have a call with Asha at 10 a.m. Then Sri Ranga. Then Sri Ranga will have a call with Sri Ranga at 10:30. With Kajal we'll have 10 a.m. Vikrant, 11 a.m. Vikrant 11:30. Nandini will have in the next session starting at 2:30. So 12 to 2:30 is lunch break, and lunch break, as I have communicated in one-to-one calls also, it should be a salad lunch. So so today we are not exercising that picture upload, but tomorrow onwards we will be uploading our pictures also of the food. Today, if few of are ready to upload your picture post breakfast, you can upload in the Facebook group. Don't use the WhatsApp group for uploading the picture. So on the Facebook group, you upload the picture of your breakfast. Breakfast should be fruits, ideally mono fruits. If you are very keen to go ahead with multiple fruits, so don't increase it more than 2, maximum 3. So fruits, and try to give a gap of 10 minutes at least between the types of the groups. Don't have multiple groups, that will be again multiple task to your vitality. So the fruit breakfast followed by salad lunch, and evening cooked dinner with low spice and salt. Low spice and salt vegetarian dinner. That's the norm that we will follow, and we will not have snacks in between. If you are very hungry, keen hunger is there, then just have one fruit at a time. Just observe. If the hunger disappears, don't eat anything. Carry on. Again keen hunger, then one fruit. So this is the pattern of these 4 days for the purpose of deeper attention to the course content. Right? After that, we will develop an understanding, a framework of deciding our own food that you can continue starting Monday. Right? I hope this is clear, and we'll have right. So 2:30 we'll have a call with Nandini. Then 3 o'clock puja. 3:30 is Sahana. 4 p.m. we will have a call with Tathapi, and 4:30 with Tulika. Right, I get a question that as we understand medically cancer, now is that different form term in nature cure? Yes, Nandini, I mentioned that, you might have missed that the term cancer used here is different because few stages could be kind of similar in the cancer, but the kind of stages of cancer termed is in medical is not available in nature cure. So for example, right now in my body there are a lot of cancerous cell. It is happening. So as per as nature cure, the cancer happens, goes away, happens, goes away, that happens. That's a continuous process. It is not that kind of pathetic as termed as medical science. Right? The moment we intervene, we trigger, it becomes actually against the life. Right, so that's a difference of understanding in cancer, and we'll continue discussing on that on the comment section also. And at 10 o'clock we are starting the calls, starting with Asha, then Sri, then Kajal, then Vikrant, and in afternoon session we'll have Nandini, Pooja, Sahana, Tathapi, Tulika. So just keep and note down your time, and rest of the time you are spending time on reading the first 7 chapters of the study materials. And just populate your questions on the Facebook in the comment section primarily. We will take up those questions in the live session at 7. Right? So we'll end this session. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you all at 7 tonight. Thank you.